Hello, my name is Melbay Guy, and welcome to my programming class. Now, we've heard a lot about programming. We've heard so many people use the term programming. We've read a lot about it. And this video session, this class, the goal of this class is to teach you what the concept is all about, or my take on programming. They can also put it that way. So the goal is to build a foundation in programming and understand what the concept is all about so that you can be able to make progress with programming and do whatever you want to do with programming. So let's begin. What is programming? Let's begin with the introduction. So I wrote this text myself, and all I was trying to say here is a computer cannot do things on its own. It relies on instructions to perform operations. Yeah, so computers are dumb. Basically, computers are dumb. They don't know how to do anything. Computers doesn't know how to calculate numbers, add numbers, subtract numbers, perform operations, or assist us. Computers are dumb. But if you teach a computer how to do something, how to perform a particular operation, the computer can do it faster than human beings. Human beings know how to add numbers. They know how to perform certain operations. The computers do not know how to do that. But if you teach the computer how to perform those operations, the computers can do it faster than human beings. That's why human beings rely on computers. That's all I was trying to say here. A computer cannot do things on its own. It relies on instructions to perform operations. Basically, a computer is dumb. Yeah. It doesn't know how to do anything. Human beings are smarter than computers. So the question is, why do humans rely on computers if they are dumb? Computers can't do anything on their own or think. But if a computer is taught how to perform a particular task, it will do it faster than human beings. So human beings rely on computers because of its ability to perform operations faster or store so many things for future references. A computer doesn't know how to sum or add numbers. It's humans who know how to do it. But if a computer is taught how to sum or add numbers, it can add or sum them faster than human beings. You get it? So computers are dumb. They don't know how to do anything. But if you teach it how to do something, it can do it faster. That's why we rely on computers. Humans rely on computers. So I said something here. So the question is, how do we teach the computer how to perform certain tasks so that it can do it faster for us? We need a computer's assistance, but the computer can't help us. It doesn't know how to go about it. It doesn't know how to help us. We need a computer to add two numbers for us, two large numbers for us. The computer doesn't know how to do that. We know how to do that, but the numbers are too large for us. All we need those numbers to be added faster. So we can teach the computer how to add those numbers, how to perform the operation. When we teach the computer can do it faster for us. You get it? Can do the operation faster for us. So the question here is, how do we teach the computer how to perform that operation for us so that it can do it faster for us? This is where programming comes to the picture. You get it? For me to be able to teach you something, I should be able to communicate with you. It is through communication that I can pass lessons to you. If we can't communicate, maybe if you don't understand my language, how can I teach you? So communication is key. It is through communication that we can teach the computer how to perform a particular task or teach it how to do something so that it can help us. So this is where programming comes into the picture. I think I had said it here. This is where programming comes into the picture. When we need to teach the computer how to do something so that it can do it for us, can help us or assist us, we use a concept. We need a concept of programming. Programming is basically a communication between you, not just anyone, particular kind of person. So between you, a programmer, and a computer. So it's just a communication. If I'm programming, I'm programming. If someone says I'm programming or anything, all the person is trying to say is I'm communicating with the computer. In the communication, the programmer teaches the computer how to perform a particular task. Get it? Like I said, a computer doesn't know how to do anything. But if it is taught how to do it, it can do it faster than human beings. So when you are programming, you are teaching the computer how to perform a particular task. The task could be how to solve a particular problem, handle a particular situation, or perform a particular operation. For me to be able to speak or communicate with you, we must both understand the same language. If I want to communicate with you with English, you must understand English language, or we can't communicate. And if we can't communicate, I can teach you what I may want to teach you. You get it? So programming is the communication, is the field that teaches us how to teach the computer how to perform the task. It teaches us how to communicate with the computer. You get it? And in the communication, we teach the computer how to do certain things so that it can assist us. So here I'm saying programming is basically a communication between you, a programmer, and a computer. In the communication, the programmer teaches the computer how to perform a particular task. Like I said, the computer doesn't know how to do anything, but if it is taught how to do it, it can do it faster than humans. A programmer teaches a computer how to perform a particular task through communication. For a programmer to be able to communicate with the computer in the first place, both must understand a common or same language. I am communicating with you, I'm teaching you something because we all understand the same language. You understand English, I understand English. So we are understanding ourselves. So for a programmer to be able to teach the computer, they both must understand the same language because they are going to communicate. So the computer understands only one language, known as binaries or machine language. This is how it looks like: zeros and ones, 10, 10, 10. A programmer is required to understand the binary language to be able to communicate with the computer and teach what he or she wants to teach. So for a programmer to be able to teach the computer how to perform a particular operation, the programmer must understand the binary language, the machine language, the zeros and ones. So what did I say about zeros and ones here? Communicating with the computer using binaries is very tedious. Ones and zeros. This is very tedious. You can miss a number and the whole information you're trying to give to the computer will be different. You can just miss one thing. So communicating with using binaries is very tedious. It is easy to make mistakes. It is easy to make mistakes and teach the computer wrong stuff. So there was a need to introduce a language that is flexible and easy to use so that programmers can communicate with the computer. These new languages is what we now term programming languages. What are programming languages? Now, to teach the computer is you need a computer to be able to assist you in something. So you have to teach the computer what and what to do to be able to assist you. To do that, you have to communicate with the computer, meaning you have to program to get it. You have to communicate with the computer. In the communication, and the computer understands only one language, binaries. So to be able to communicate with the computer, you have to understand the language the computer understands so that you can pass your information or your lessons to the computer. But the language the computer understands, which is binaries or machine language, is very tedious. It's hard to work with. It's hard to communicate with the computer using that language. So programmers, or there was a need to introduce a language that programmers feel comfortable with, that they can use to communicate with the computer. And those languages are what we term now as programming languages. A programming language is a language that can be used to communicate with the computer. Aside binaries, binaries, as said earlier, is a language that a computer understands. Examples of programming languages: Python, Java, C++, C, C#, PHP. These are languages that you can use to communicate with the computer aside binaries. And you know the communication, the goal of the communication is to teach the computer how to perform a particular task or how it can assist you or how to perform additions of numbers so that it can add it faster, you know. The computer understands only one language and is not ready to learn other languages. So the computer told programmers, hey, you can use any language to communicate with me, but before the information gets Okay, I was interrupted. I don't know what happened, but it just left and came back. So let's continue. So we are saying here, the computer understands only one language, and the computer is not ready to learn other languages. So the computer told programmers, hey, you can use any language to communicate with me. But before the information gets to me, make sure it is in the form of binaries. So programmers introduce a tool called compiler or interpreter to stand at the middle of the communication and interpret things to the computer. So we know that we have to teach the computer how to do something so that it can help us. To do that, we need to be able to communicate with the computer. In the communication, for the communication to be effective, both parties, the programmer and the computer, must understand the same language. The computer understands only one language, known as binary language or machine language. And that language is tedious, or it's hard for programmers to communicate with the computer using that language. So programmers introduced different languages that they can use to communicate with the computer aside the binary language. And the cost of introducing those languages, known as programming languages, is something known as a tool known as compiler or interpreter. So a compiler or interpreter is a tool that stands at the middle between the programmer and the computer and interprets the language, the information that the programmer is trying to pass to the computer. It interprets the information from the language the programmer is using into the language that the computer understands. You get it? So the programmer didn't feel comfortable using the binary language. So the programmer chose to use Python, Java, C++, or C language to communicate with the computer. The computer doesn't understand any of these languages. So a tool was introduced known as compiler or interpreter to convert any language or any information written inside with this Python or Java or C++, convert that information into binaries. So the computer will pick the information that's been written with C or C++ and will convert it into binaries, will convert it into something like this and pass it to the computer. And the computer can understand it this way. And the computer can finally learn or hear what the programmer is trying to teach and perform that operation or carry out that instruction. So a compiler or interpreter converts information or instructions from programmers into a language that the computer can understand, which is binaries. So a programmer can use any programming language such as Java, Python, C++ to communicate with the computer, and the compiler or interpreter will translate or convert the information to binaries so that the computer can understand and perform the necessary actions. So, career and benefits of programming. We have computer programmer, web developer, mobile app developer, and stuff. Let's go back here. So here we understood programming, the introduction, computers and blah, blah. We understood what programming is, a communication between you, the programmer, the one teaching the computer how to do something is a programmer. So communication between you, the programmer, and the computer is known as programming. Programming languages, the languages that you can use to communicate with the computer aside the binary language. Tools required for programming is covered in section 2 more. So some of the tools are the compilers and stuff, but we talk more about it in the section 2. Career and benefits of programming. With programming, what we can say about it is the benefit of programming, the income or the money in programming depends on the size of problem, because programming is for problem solving. You get it? We need a computer to assist us in something. The computer doesn't know how to assist us. So we teach the computer how to do that using a concept known as programming. The result, listen, the most important part of this lesson is the result or the end result of programming is a software. And programming, the end result, the output is a software. It is the software that will help users in solving their problem. You get it? So the software helps people to solve their problem. So anything you want to use, any help you need a computer, any help you need from the computer, you need a software to handle that particular help. Get it? So when you communicate with when you teach the computer how to do this, that, the end result the output becomes a software. And it is the software that will help people to solve their problem. And softwares basically help people to solve problems. And the income or the benefit of programming depends on the size of the problem. Get it? If you can solve big problem with your software or programming, you earn a lot. If you solve small problem, you earn small problems. You get it? Facebook, Facebook is doing well. Facebook too, it's a software, it's a web-based software. Facebook is doing well, earning so much money because it solves big problems. Microsoft Windows, the Windows operating system, Microsoft is making so much money from it because it solves bigger problems. Smaller softwares solves smaller problems. Bigger, no, smaller, it's not smaller softwares, but smaller problems and gives you small income and bigger problems. And we don't have some like a big software and a small software. It's all about solving the problem. It is a problem that determines the weight of the software. The software can be as small, but will solve a very big problem. The software can be very huge, but will be solving just a simple problem, a small problem. So the career and benefits of programming relies on the problem that the software can solve. Because I've already told you that programming is teaching the computer how to do something. It's a communication between you and the computer. In the communication, the programmer teaches the computer how to perform a particular operation. The end result of programming, teaching the computer how to do something, is a software. It is a software that that people will interact with. It is a software that the people will use to solve their problems. You get it? So if I want to type a letter or I want to edit text my assignment, I'll need the Microsoft Word software. You get it? The Microsoft Word software to solve that problem. But that software didn't exist. Programmers had to bring that software together. You get it? They had to teach the computer how to handle this, do that. And it became a Microsoft Word software. Mark Zuckerberg and his team had to tell the computer how to do this, how to do that, how to do that. And it became a Facebook software and stuff, web-based software. You get it? So that's the careers and benefit. That's what I'll say about careers and benefit. It's all about problem solving, the size of the problem. Get it? So you can find a problem, and if you can teach your computer how to assist and the problem, and it can solve so much problem, a big problem, then you are gone. You get it? So there's not much to say about careers and benefit. It's all about you. Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg had to see the need of being in a restaurant and taking pictures of your food and sharing with friends, or being able to crack jokes or write stories and share with your friends. You get it? And he introduced something like Facebook to solve that problem. And now he's earning a lot from Facebook because it solves a lot of problems. Now all those problems are solved. Bill Gates, Microsoft had to see the need to, build an operating system to make things easier. And operating systems help even programmers themselves. It helps a lot. It helps to run other softwares. So the type of problems that operating systems solve is huge. So Bill Gates deserves whatever he gets. You get it? And most of the richest people have something to do with, programming. Their products have something to do with programming. You get it? It has something, you can trace it down to programming. And you don't have to be a programmer to, get the best out of it. You can just bring the ideas, but it takes a programmer to bring the ideas to life because the programmer has to teach the computer. Someone is required to teach the computer how to do that, and a programmer is the one required to do that. You get it? So the end result of programming is a software. So that's it for this class. Thank you.